Never do I feel more seen and understood than when I see a Ralph Lauren runway. Something about the combination of warmth and accessibility mixed with elevation and sophistication just really speaks to my brain and to my personal style. I love the way that the models and the stylists make everything look so effortless while the materials and silhouettes are so sophisticated and extremely high end, high quality. So, today we're going to be deep diving into what makes Ralph Lauren's style the way that it is, the style essences behind the brand, and how you can take these elements and replicate it in your own wardrobe and own personal style without having to buy anything. Grab your tea or coffee and let's get into it. Welcome back to my channel, The United Colors of Style, where the divas are into details. So, without further ado, let's dive in. So, I want to start off by digging into the overarching themes of what makes up the Ralph Lauren style essence. So, to me, I think of natural and balanced when it comes to color palette, not too loud, not too muted, colors found in nature. Balanced when it comes to silhouettes, not too baggy, not too tight, just right. And also that more 90s minimalism kind of snuck in there as well, with just a more, again, like natural, muted, kind of effortless way of dressing. And then next would be boho, very much ruffle, loose, relaxed. Same with the color palette, same with the materials being used. So a lot of that more boho essence as well, with the looser sleeves, the billowy tops, the fun skirts. And then transitioning from that into English countryside. So a lot of the tweed jackets, herringbone prints, riding boots, etc. So very much that kind of old English upper echelon hunting riding aesthetic. And then, of course, the quintessential preppy look, which I think Ralph Lauren is very much known for and pioneered with the polos and the popping of the collars back in the early 2000s, and the also just more country club aesthetic chic that was really popular in the 90s and early 2000s. And then finally, we have that Americana, which is very much like Western, suede, fringe, a little bit essence of boho, but more like denim, Americana, denim on denim, Western type feel. So I think those kind of encapsulate the continuous threads that you see throughout the Ralph Lauren brand evolution. And it's been happening for decades upon decades. So it's really something that's consistent throughout their brand. Another quick thing I want to mention as an overall theme for Ralph Lauren, and I guess it goes without saying, but I still want to mention it and highlight it, is the importance of high quality materials. Everything is made from 100% leather, 100% wool, 100% cotton, etc. And that's very important to get the same type of feel, texture, and the way that the garment sits on you and falls is completely contingent upon the material used. So, the way I want to approach this topic is by breaking it down by different ways of creating visual interest. And I have a whole series on my YouTube channel addressing these different topics, but I want to discuss the layering, the color, the texture, and the silhouette that is continuous throughout the Ralph Lauren brand. First up, we have layering. And when I look at a lot of the runways from Ralph Lauren, I see this common theme of very intentional fitted layering with small glimpses of a different fabric or a different texture to add that varied interest and a little bit more dimensionality. So I would say that their type of layering is very traditional in the sense that it's not very avant garde or unconventional. It's very much sweater with button down top underneath, or more of a play on a suit with a tie and a collared shirt, etc. So it's not very totally out of this world, new, crazy stuff. Very traditional, very classic, very sleek, very attainable. And this is, again, what's so appealing to Ralph Lauren. He's not recreating the wheel at all. He's very much just using different textures and different layering techniques to evoke a different vibe, but not necessarily using any pieces that are inaccessible to the masses. So, I mean, most of us have a turtleneck, most of us have a button-down top. So again, it creates that attainability, it creates that accessibility at the same time, of course, using beautiful tailoring and really high quality premium materials. But I think that kind of creates the warmth and the everyday feel and the wearability that we're all so drawn to when we look at Ralph Lauren. Next up, we have color. And when I think of Ralph Lauren, I think of very muted, natural colors with a more warm undertone. And like I mentioned before, I have done videos on color theory, and I highly recommend you checking that out if you want more details on understanding the nuances behind colors and how to pair different colors in an outfit. But essentially, all the colors used are found in nature. And I really appreciate that because even the advertising shoots that Ralph Lauren does are usually in some sort of nature scene, like in the west or in the southwest or in a mountain somewhere or in a countryside somewhere, and all the clothing seem to be like color gradient of what's going on in the background. And to me that is so beautiful and so appealing as far as just feeling at ease when seeing these colors. It's not jarring, it's not bright, it's not bombastic. It's something that just kind of makes sense within the natural flow of us traversing around the world, and basically wearing colors that we see on a day-to-day basis. I think that's why so many people love fall and the changing of the leaves. Like, I think we just have this innate sense that certain colors just really speak to us and are very almost calming. So I would say that that's a big part of Ralph Lauren's kind of style ethos and style essence, is very much using natural fibers and materials, but also natural colors that you can find in nature. Next up is texture. And I feel like this is where Ralph Lauren really has a lot of fun and is super playful. And as I mentioned before, I've done a video on texture and breaking down different ways of creating texture contrast and playing with texture. And I think Ralph Lauren is a really great case study in how you can create so much interest and personality through playing with texture. He combines suede with satin, with mohair, with wool. So all these different textures that come from using different materials creates that visual interest, even though he doesn't play as much with color or silhouette. The texture contrasting is what really makes it have all that depth and dimensionality. So I think that's a really huge component of what makes his styling choices so kind of interesting without being too basic. I know a lot of the 90s minimalism gets a bad rep for being really just overly simple, but I think by playing with texture, it really adds that warmth, dimensionality, and even beyond that, I mean, you find a lot of pleating within the Ralph Lauren brand, as well as different texture weaving, like weaving of the actual clothes, like herringbone, etc., and tweed, and a lot of the more hunting English countryside looking jackets. So there are a lot of ways that he's able to, both on the micro and on the macro, add texture. And I think he just does it so masterfully and is something that you can really take away into your own wardrobe, and apply it and get that same essence. So, next up, we have accessories. And accessories, again, are another huge component of Ralph Lauren's personal touch and how beautifully and stylistically interesting he's able to make certain outfits on his runway, I think a lot of times it's really about a statement belt. He loves belting. And even when he does add a really, either very chunky belt or a more interesting metaled belt or western style belt, etc. But when he does add that more statement belt, he will go really minimalistic on the other accessories, so on the maybe other earrings or any other components that he might add, so that one accessory can be the main star of the outfit. And I love that. I think especially when we are trying to be more intentional with our wardrobes and our clothing, we should only try to make one element of our outfit stand out so it can feel like it has its moment to shine, its moment in the sun, and it can be fully appreciated and fully focused on. And I think there's so much value in that, and he does such a great job of executing that in such an intentional way. And I think if you really want to achieve that style that he is able to cultivate, that's something that you should probably adapt as well. And finally, we have silhouette. And with silhouette, Ralph Lauren is very, again, balanced and more minimalistic when it comes to his preferred silhouettes. It's very fitted, not exaggerated at all, not too oversized, not too baggy, but I wouldn't necessarily it's super tight fitting either. I think he just tries to find that more tailored balance that kind of goes with the body rather than completely engulfing it or completely like attaching to it. So I think with that, he stays very consistent with that more in between, more fitted, tailored look. And again, I think where he really has fun and adds personality is through texture, accessories, and even layering. So now we've arrived at my final thoughts, and I really just want to give you some more overarching tips and tricks to achieve the Ralph Lauren style essence. And definitely let me know in the comments below if you would want a video specifically of how I would break down these style essences into an outfit. So, like, give you, okay, this top, this, and get really nitty gritty. So, if that's something you're interested in, please let me know again in the comments below. But my overarching style tips are if you like this style, then just always focus on the essence behind the brand and the styling. So I mean this in a very broad sense. Even beyond Ralph Lauren, you should just always try to really reflect on what aspects and what essences are really drawing you to a certain brand, and then write them down so you can have a really good grasp of what your personal style is with specific words, kind of like in the beginning where we went through Americana, boho, etc. Like just really getting granular about what it is that really draws you to certain styles. And then also it's a matter of like not necessarily needing to shop at these stores or these designers, but just knowing those essences so then you don't have to spend as much money. You don't have to subscribe to designer, but you can still achieve that same look. Again, quality is everything and confidence and comfort are definitely key. I think at the end of the day, timelessness and quality and comfort all roll together. And I think having that consistency throughout your wardrobe really shows a sense of personal style and authenticity. And I think that's what Ralph Lauren does so well. He doesn't deviate, he doesn't follow trends. He does what he loves, he does what makes sense, what's comfortable, what's wearable, and he sticks with that. And again, I think that's what makes him so appealing. So, beyond that, I think it's just really important to always keep in mind that it should be authentic to you, it should feel comfortable, and it should make sense for your day to day life. Also, one thing I really love is how Ralph Lauren really shows that you don't need one quote unquote aesthetic to have personal style. He has very defined personal style, but as we mentioned earlier in the style essences, he has many different quote unquote aesthetics that I feel like have now been parsed out. But all these quote unquote aesthetics still feel authentic to him and his brand. So again, you don't need to subscribe to just one. You can have elements and nuances of many different ones that speak to you because, of course, at the end of the day, we're humans and we're multifaceted people. We're going to grow, change, evolve. And of course, some things will stay true to us and will follow us throughout our lives, but it's also fun to have fun. And I think he acknowledges that in his branding. As always, we're ending today's video with an inspirational fashion quote. Today's quote comes from the obviously iconic and super wise Ralph Lauren. He states, "My thing was always about individuality and creating a world. Because you don't just wear clothes, you have a life. You have style, you project who you are." Thank you so much for watching and sticking around for the entire video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!